Our 2018 Tesla Model 3 is now 8 years old. It's kind of outdated, at least compared to brand new Teslas. And all these brand new Teslas, they have that colorful ambient lighting inside. Well, this one doesn't. So it's time to update that. And we add some additional safety features along with that lighting that we're putting in. It's time to get us back to the future. We want to update our 2018 Tesla Model 3 with some ambient lighting. And actually, we're going to use this system here from Tesery, which is their NeuroLights. And it's a smart blind spot monitor and ambient lighting system. It's got some cool functions besides just being ambient lighting. And all it is this little box, so can't be too hard to install, right? Comes with the manual, how to install. It's a little bit of electrical tape. I think this is the tape for the lights. Here we got the baggie with the harness. If I can open it. Come on there. There we go. So we got, there we go. We got these two small harnesses here. And so that's how we tie into the Tesla system. We got this orange tool here. This is basically a panel removal tool. And it's got even one with the fork here so we can pull some pins out. We got an adhesive wipe or an adhesion promoter, basically. It's a wipe that you wipe down the area where you're gonna put the lights. And then last but not least here, there's a little, I think there's a little bit more wiring in here maybe. And basically the harness, yep. So we got a little bit more of wire here that will plug into those other harness. Plus these are the light strips here. So, well, let's get that thing installed and then later we look at all the functions that this has. On both ends of the dash, we gotta remove this cover here. And you may be actually able to just pull that with your finger out there, or you can use this tool. So it's attached with a few clips. There, oh, there it goes. So if you don't hold the camera, then it's not that bad to do. So that's how this looks like. So there is a clip there, one there, and one there. And then here we got an end cap that also has two clips, and this one's pretty tough to come off usually. I think 23, around the production model 23, they no longer have this removable end cap. At least there's a service note in there from 2023 that they may not have that. But so we gotta pull this out, which I don't know, I probably can't do it here with one hand. I need the other hand real quick and then I'll show you how this looks like. Here we go, this is this little piece and you see those two yellow clips and that's where this part and this part goes into. So this is just in there and it comes straight out. And so you kind of got to get your finger in there, push on it, and you can also put the pry tool in here to help a little bit to get it going, but it will just kind of pop loose all of a sudden, but it holds pretty hard to get that off. And then you do exactly the same thing on the other side as well. At this point, this whole piece going all the way across is attached with 15 more clips, and that may be a little tricky again. There, it just kind of pulls up, and you just got to go along and pull that up all the way across. Here's the other side. There we go. And now you can see this whole thing comes out like that. Here we go. That is the whole piece right here. And that is how this looks like underneath here. You want to make sure that you got all these metal clips here. You can see here is one missing. That one's there. So that one that's missing here is actually on the piece right here, right there. So, and I think that was the only one All the others are in place. So we want to put this one in here. And let's see, we're looking at that one like this. So it would be like this here. There we go. All right, so yeah, just make sure you have all those clips, because if you don't, this will start to rattle. But we need that for the installation later. Then here on the passenger side, this is the glove box here. This is trim here for the door sill. We need to be able to get under there. So we need to pull this gasket back, remove this, and then remove that, so we can plug in under there with our harness. This seal here, you can just grab it and pull it off. As you can see here from this side, this just pushes on right there. So that's not hard to do. So we can pull this easily back. And then this trim here, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to release at the top here. There we go. Here we can see at the top is one of those clips that goes in there. On the bottom is this little hook that goes down in there. So it goes in like this and pushes like that. And then we got one push pin there. And for that, we'll use this orange tool. So we should be able, hopefully, to get, oh, this one popped real easy with the little fork part. Get in there, pull this out, and then if you can get behind it, I don't know if I can get it, maybe. Let me see if I can pull it by hand. Oh, there we go. All right, that's how this is. So some of these stick really bad, others go relatively easy. When you put it back in, you gotta hold it like this, push that first piece in, and then you push the pin in, but we'll get to that later. Then we gotta see what else we have to release here. There may be another pin down here in the dark. Let's feel real quick. No, I actually don't feel anything under there. Let's see here. So it looks like it's up in there a little bit, so maybe we start at this end here more. Let's see if we can pull this up. I'm not sure. There we go, like this. Oh yeah, that's the key. So you can see we got more of these. I think that one goes probably there. Then we got this white one back here that was in here. But then we have these clips here. They go, I think, here on these. They will grab those. Actually, look at this, one bent over. What the heck? There we go. Yeah, but these white clips here, just grab it there. And here in the front, we got these two right there. That will push in there in the dark somewhere. With a flashlight, that will be easy to see. But we need access to this stuff right here so we can plug in our harnesses. Welcome back. Oh, you didn't even know I was gone, did you? Well, I had to take a little break from this because things didn't really match up with the way I was explained how this is supposed to install in here. So, and if sometimes things don't match up, it's best to take a little break, do some research, and make sure this is going to be done right. I also built this little thing here because rather than just working from the side, which will be possible with probably around 2020, 2021 Model 3s on, should be possible with the Model Y, that everything is just on the side here, so you don't need this. But this is essentially so I can lay down in here, down on the floor without breaking my back. I've done this many, way too many times in my life. Bending over backwards, literally getting in here. So now I decided to build this so I can kind of lay straight in there and work underneath the dash, because it turns out in the early Model 3s, this was upgraded to hardware 3. I assume hardware 2.5 is the same, because the way the wiring harness is, it should be basically the same. But you gotta gain access to the main car computer, which sits under here under the dash, basically behind the glove box. And so that's where you have to get to, because you will have to unplug a plug on the side towards the outside here, so basically towards the right side of the vehicle, and put this little adapter in. And it is way too tight under there to bring a camera and light and 2 screwdrivers to actually unplug this plug. So what I had to do, I used 1 screwdriver to get up there and push the release, which is really easy to do, and then a wide flathead screwdriver to kind of just tweak it a little bit and start pushing that plug out. And that worked pretty good. It's just there's no room under there, so it's really super tight to get in there. And you want to be really super careful because you're working at the main car computer. It has tons of plugs there. I don't know, I would guess there is 15 to 20 plugs. All the cameras go there, everything goes there. So you got to be careful working around there. But I got it unplugged, relatively easy, and then put the adapter harness onto the vehicle harness, and then I had to push it all back some and plug it into the car computer again. Now, plugging it into the car computer, you have to be so super careful, because this is the car computer. This is the brain of this entire car. If something goes wrong there, you're out a lot of money. You probably can't even drive it without that plug being on there properly. If you bend the pin inside that car computer, there's no real easy way to get to. You probably would have to end up taking the whole computer out, straighten the pin out, make sure it works again. So you gotta be super careful. You have to line that plug up just perfect so that it's really straight in front of the socket, and then you just push it in lightly. If you have to force anything, stop, don't. It's gotta go in really light. And then once you push it in and it goes in, basically, you got to make sure it did lock in place. I didn't hear anything when I plugged mine in. I pulled a little bit, it came back out, so I pushed again. It was in, basically, it just didn't lock. So I pushed. Once it's all the way in, you can push a little bit harder, and eventually it did lock. So it is super tight under there. It's super tough to do. You got to be super careful if you do this. If you feel uncomfortable, have an automotive technician do it, one that is capable of doing it. So if you happen to be up in Montana, well, let me know. I can help you out with this too. So, but yeah, you want to be super careful. So I just took some pictures of that, and I'm going to show you some of those pictures and explain what you are looking at. And like I said, it's so tight under there, it was even tough to get decent pictures. They're not even good or anything. There's just about so you can see where you have to go. I'm starting kind of backwards here. So this picture shows the harness already installed, plugged into the car computer. Up above there you can see where it says car computer. That is actually the computer, and on the right side of that, up in there, that's where the plug is that we need to unplug and plug this harness, this adapter harness, into. You can also see the little white box there. That is actually the fuse, or the fuse is inside that box. And then we have this little black plug that then will plug into the controller. So we're basically down in the footwell on the passenger side, facing to the right of the vehicle, and where we need to plug in this harness is up above that white fuse box, up in there. So it is pretty tight to get up there, and as I said, many plugs and things up there, so you gotta be careful and not force things. And here, this is a picture where you can see on top, that is the car harness that was plugged into the car computer that now is hanging down where I plugged in the provided light harness. So that's how that one looks like. So the white plug at the top is the one that you have to unplug from the car computer. Here we go with another fully loaded picture. So we can see there the plug that I showed you in the previous picture that is attached to the car harness. The car harness that we actually unplugged just above to the left there where it says adapter harness plugged in. That's where the car harness was, and that's where we now have the adapter harness plugged into the car computer. So it is pretty tricky there. There's very little space, and the very far upper right corner there you can actually see the two red wires. That's where the fuse box is for that adapter harness that we're plugging in. But yeah, it's tight and you gotta be careful. Don't force things. Things have to come apart easily and go back together easily. If they don't, probably you're not lined up properly with those plugs. So this whole thing, I think, only applies to the early Model 3. Basically, it lists 2017 to 20 and a half as a model year, okay? But Tesla, obviously, they change continuously things as they go. So 20 and a half may not be that accurate. You may have one that was built in May of 2020 and is already different than this one. So it's a little tricky when it comes to around 2020, right? Depends on a little bit when the vehicle was born, meaning it came out of production. Sometimes you only see when the vehicle was registered, so it can be a little tricky there. If you have an early one like me, a 2018, this is what it is. You will have to get under there a little bit. And as I said, with the Model Y and the later Model 3, then it shouldn't be a problem. It should be right here on the side in the footwell where that plug is. And so that would be way easier to get to and hook it up. So, well, now that I hooked it up, there's another thing I did. Since it was on the main car computer, just powering the vehicle down on the screen doesn't really power everything down. If you've done it before, if you've done that power down before, yeah, the stuff goes dark inside and whatever, but you could still hear like pumps, like water pumps may still be running and stuff. But because I was working at the main computer, I didn't want any power on any of those wires. Again, we got to be super careful. If we're right at the computer, if we unplug something that has power on it and there's a little amp draw on this may spark. This may cause a huge problem. This may do damage to the computer. This may leave a burn mark on that little tiny pin on the computer, and it just leads to problem. So you have to power it down completely. I'm going to show you briefly how that works. It is not that hard to do, but it's a few extra steps. So let's look at powering down the vehicle completely, meaning we're disconnecting the low voltage battery and make sure that the high voltage battery contactors are open, so there is no high voltage coming to the vehicle out of the battery pack either. So first thing you want to do is you open your frunk, you open all 4 doors, all of them, and you run all the windows down, okay? Because once there's no power, you can't open a door, you can't run a window, so you got to make sure you got your doors open. Don't latch them, leave them open, okay? You can leave them all the way open. I just had to close this one a little bit so I could work better and then do my recording that I just did. But yeah, all 4 doors open. And then under here, there's this panel that is usually here. And this just pulls up. It's just got push pins here. No big deal, you just lift it up and then it comes right up. And then you are looking at the battery right here. That's the low voltage battery, your 12-volt battery. And this is the negative. And then you use a 10mm wrench. I have a ratchet wrench that makes it really easy. You can just go on there, loosen this nut up, lift this off and set it aside, making sure it does no longer touch there. So you gotta make sure you set it kind of aside, push it down there a little bit, and that will disconnect your low voltage battery. Now, actually, before you do this, you should power the vehicle down on the screen. And that is really easy done. Let me show you real quick. So after you open all the doors, run all the windows down, you tap right there on the car, go to safety, and then you gotta scroll all the way down. There's the power off. Press power off, say power off, and then it's powered off, okay? That's what you do first before you, or not first, that's what you do second. First, all the doors open, windows down, power dice down, and then you go up front there and undo the negative on the battery. Then you got to go around the vehicle under the back seat. So ignore all the spare parts I have here. I got some wiper blades that I still need to put in, and then cabin air filters. But basically, you need to get under the seat. To get under the seat, there are these latches here, right here. So you can reach in under the cushion and open this, and then it pops up. And there's the same thing as on the other side over there. So you got to do that on both sides, but you want to be on the passenger side here where this plug is. There's this cover on it. So you pull this plug, this cover off, and then here is a little release on the plug there. You just grab that and you slowly go down with this. And as you're going down, it's a little hard to do with. There we go. It's easier with two hands. You can unplug this. And then you hear a clunk when you do this, which means the contactor's now opened. And that means now there's no more power to the vehicle. So yeah, do that power down. Open all 4 doors, run all 4 windows down, open the front. Do the power down inside on the screen. Disconnect the negative on the battery. Come back here, lift up the seat on the passenger side. Unplug that plug, and then you're completely safe to work under there, so that you don't accidentally do anything, because it's so tight, it's so easy to do something. So these extra few steps, they take a few minutes to do, not hard to do, so do those. And then once you got your adapter in there, your little T connector basically in there and plugged in, that's when you can power up your vehicle again. So at that point, you go back here onto the passenger side and plug in that plug again. There won't be any clunk or anything because there's no 12 volt to actually open or close the battery contactors in there. But then you go up front and you put the negative on, and then the vehicle will power up again. And so you put the negative on, tighten that again, and you're good. You just gotta obviously reassemble the back here, the seat, put the little foam cover back on, put the seat back down, make sure you latch it in there. Put the cover back on the front. And at that point, everything should be good so far. Then, before you do any more installations, at that point, now it's time, that's about where I'm at actually right now. It is time to take that light strip and plug it in and see if it actually functions. Because if it does not, something is wrong somewhere, and you don't want to close up everything under here before you know that this actually works. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Now we have this little thing here. This is the little controller that goes with the light, and it's got the 2 plugs on it. And this plug is the one that matches the plug under there that we just installed. So we have to plug that in there. And then on this end, we plug in the light strip that we have. So first I gotta crawl back under there and plug this in. And I'm not gonna tuck this in anywhere and put it away. I'm just gonna plug that in and make sure I get easy access to this. And then I plug the light strip in. All right, I hope you can see this a little bit. So this wire here is for the light. I had to remove this cover, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that yet. But yeah, you have to remove this cover under here. There's a light and a speaker, so 2. But here is the one we need. Oops. Black to black right here. Let's see that we can get this together the right way. There we go. Push it all the way together so it's in. Now we need the light strip. So there's the little plug from the light strip. And let's see. I think that goes this way. Okay, got this plugged in. So now we have it plugged in. The light strip is just hanging here on the door. Now I can see if this actually works or what it does. Because if it don't work, no sense in going any further with the installation. There we go, it powered up, green. There's red, there's blue, there's red on the other side. I don't know if I can get it all in the picture here. There, kinda, but I gotta hold it that way. That's no good. But it definitely powers up. Let's see if I can place this somehow. that I can hold it all. Oh, it's a little tough. Here we go. Turn signal right, turn signal left. Yeah, and off. I think it works. So at this point, I got to find a way from there up to here, because this light strip will then attach to the piece that is missing now, actually. And so we got to find a way to come up real easy. And we do have a bit of wire there, so we got about this much. I don't know if you can see that, this much wire there. So there's enough to make it up there. But yeah, that's the next step, finding a way, and then we have to attach this light strip to that other piece, basically on the dash vent. All right, I've done a little bit more exploration since, well, the guidance that I was given is just kind of vague, and since there are so many model years plus 2 models, the Model 3 and the Model Y, that go with this, and with all the changes that Tesla does throughout production, things you may encounter may be a little different than expected. So I put this back on. I don't think I would have had to take it off in my case. I can find an easy way on the side here. I'll show you a close-up here in a second. So I probably didn't need to take this off. Putting it back on is as simple as basically backwards from taking it off. You just set it down, you make sure all the clips line up, and then you just tap it in the places where the clips are, and it's back on there. And we got this side cover here that I took off early on, which goes right about in there. I'm just gonna take a little itty bitty off that vent duct out, or I can take a little bitty itty bitty off this one. This here seems a little more fragile, so I'll probably go back there and just take an itty bitty off, because I just have this this is a very, very thin wire here. This is maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a smidgen more. So I just need a little bit to get that wire in there. I just don't want to pinch it. People probably put it in there, slap it together, but I don't want to pinch the wire, so I'm just gonna take a little itty bitty out with like a 1/16 drill bit, and get that out so I can run that down. And I just need to come down. You can see, I hope you can see, here, down here, there is where my hand is the plug. So I got plenty of wire to get down there. So, well, let's take a closer look. So you can see there the duct coming up, and we got just this little edge. I don't know if I can hold it all here. We got this little edge right there. It's kind of sharpish, and let's see here. Maybe we got enough light to see. There we go. So there we got this piece that goes into those 2 yellow greenish clips there, like that. Okay. So, and that just kind of closes this off on this side. And I just want to come right through there. So that clip thing that goes on right against this, I'm just going to take a little bit out of here, and then I can just come down here and go right to this harness right here, follow it down, and down here is my connector. So that should be relatively simple. Now, I wasn't sure if I'm going to put it, or if I wasn't sure if was going to put the light strip up from underneath here onto this part. This is not on top, definitely not totally smooth. Under here it's a little smoother, but I don't know that it's really a good sticky thing. I think this here is the better side to put it on. There is a little, you can see this little lip right there, so I can put it right against that lip. So that should be perfect without too much we got these air outlets on there, right? Without too much air actually blowing against it. If I put it up here, the air may blow against it, and that may not stick as good up here. So down here it sticks better, and it's kind of protected by this little lip there. So that's my plan. So I'm gonna get a little notch there so I can put my wire in. I'll show you the notch, and I'll put this on here. The only thing you want to do here, this whole thing is not quite as long as the dash is wide. And if you can see here, right there is the end of this little lip. So we don't want to come all the way out there anyway, where we have this duct for the window defrost. So we just need to put it nicely into the middle, so it's centered from side to side, and then the wire should just be right there, very invisible, hopefully, disappearing down that way. All right, so I got camera set up so you hopefully can see some of that. I put the strip up here. Obviously you want to make sure the tape, the adhesive here, this double-sided tape, that you put it on the right side of your light strip, because if you put it on the wrong side, the light will face away from you. So make sure you put it on the correct side, depending on where you are going to put it. So I'm going to put it on the bottom. So as the light is facing me, I may need to put my double-sided tape on the bottom. If you put it up there, obviously we'll have to put it on top. So it all varies a little bit. Also, as I held this up here to kind of center it out and find the middle, I think I can see a little bit of the wire there. It's not bad, but I think I tried to route it in actually before where that duct comes out, so that there's even less wire visible. Gotta fiddle with that again a little bit. But so first now I have to attach the light itself, so I have that in the proper place where it belongs, and then I can look at this wire situation a little bit more. I may have to lift this up again so I can get down in there. I may have to take this completely off again and actually maybe drill a hole there or something. I gotta look at it. But basically, first thing now is putting the tape on the bottom of this light strip for me, and then put the light strip on, centered, and then go from there. They also give you a wipe here, so you can wipe this, basically both surfaces. I would wipe them real quick with this, and then put that on. So, and stick it on there. Shouldn't be too hard to do, so let's do it. All right, we got it on there. It actually works pretty darn good, especially if you have it powered up, because then you can actually see it real easy. I think that helps rather than having it dark and not powered up, so that does pretty good. I got it centered nicely. It sticks pretty good. It's relatively easy. I just took off about 2 inches at the beginning, pushed it against that lip in the back and pushed it down. Then I just kind of pulled a little bit, guided it in place, and pushed it down to stick. So, and just went about 6-10 inches each time. That works pretty good. So now I want to figure this situation out here. It's barely visible, the wire right now, but I want to see if I can actually get in right there and drop down somehow. So I got to do a little inspection, and then we'll go from there. They do give you a little bit of fish tape and even some electrical tape, which comes in handy. Now I can tape this to the fish tape and hopefully fish it through there. I'm gonna see here if that works, and if it does, I'm gonna show you that in close-up so you can see where I ran it through. Now, like I said, Tesla changed so many things during production. Yours may look a little different, and you may have to find a little different way to do that. All right, you can see here, coming in here on the side, just under there, and then it comes out right there. But let's see if I can place the light here. I want to go to this little, that's there. I want to go to this little notch. I can get the plug through that little notch. I have to fish it down in there. And then we can be under here and come out here on the side. Basically, just as before, come out here and then go over to this harness behind the cover here. So, well, let's tape that thing together and fish it through. All right, again, it didn't go as expected. Well, I got it in through this little notch right there. I got it behind it. But somehow in there somewhere, there's a choke point where this was too big, the little plug. I mean, this plastic tape here is about 1/4 inch wide, went through, but this didn't go through. But we only need this 1/16, and now you can see it's totally loose. But what I had to do is I had to take a couple screws out right here so that I can move this up a little bit and work a little bit under there to get over so this is not getting pinched. So now I got to put these 2 screws back in, and then we'll put that on and we'll see. I'm hoping this here is not going to pinch it on there somehow. We got quite some room and can maneuver it there, so I hope that will work just fine. All right, got it in there, and now it looks way better. There's just a itty bitty piece of wire showing, but not much. You can barely see, there's a little itty bitty piece of wire right there going back and down. But that's it, and then over here we can really easy hide it and put it away. Got a lot of assembly to do. This here is the cover, speaker and light, so those are the 2 plugs that are hanging down there. But this goes underneath from the bottom up there. So I got to put this back on. It does have a few push pins, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe. It hooks in here with these 2 hooks as well. So it just kind of slides under there. It hooks back here and here as well with these little hookies there. So yeah, we got to get this back up and assemble this, and then we're in business. Well, we got to put the door sill on too, I guess. So, but yeah, at this point it's a matter of assembly. One thing I should mention, there is a fuse on that harness that they provide, which that hangs way up in there kinda. I think you have to take this off to get to it. You can take this off probably without taking all the stuff on the side off, but I didn't find, it's not long enough that I could route it out nicely here. I haven't found a way. Maybe as I'm on the there again now, maybe I'll see a way, but I didn't see a way to bring it over here, so it's kind of way up there because the plug on the computer, on the car computer, is way up there, and that fuse is not, that little harness is not very long, unfortunately. So, well, let's assemble this thing. Okay, I'm outside the car. You can see the car is shut down. The dashboard, everything's dark. Now I'm gonna open the driver's door. There we go. Those are the functions. And you can see on the driver's side, we do have a red light at the end. That is the warning the door's open. Now I'm gonna open the back door on the driver's side. And you see the green stripe coming, wiping the red off and bringing the red back, again, warning for the door open. I'm gonna close the driver's door. And again, that gives us a green indication. And then the red is back for the passenger door, for the rear door. Gonna close the rear door. And since I'm not in a car, it shuts down. Now I'm going over to the passenger side. And I'm gonna open the rear door. Now we get the warning on the right side, and there's the red light that the door's open. And I'm gonna close the door, and it goes dark. Gonna open the front door, and again, green with the red that the door is open. Now I'm going over to the driver's side, and I'm gonna open the driver's door. And there's the green running, and the red showing that the driver's door is open, or a door on the driver's side. We're closing the passenger side. My red goes away. And now I'm going to get into the car and the red should go away. Closing the door and the red is gone. Now, got the vehicle powered up. Got the right side turn signal. Got the left side turn signal. There we go. Then it's got some other functions connected to the climate control. So if I bring the climate control up, and I'm going to increase fan speed. And I got red coming from the left to the right, indicating an increase in fan speed. I'm going to lower the fan speed. Now I got blue coming from the right, going to the left, indicating we decreased the fan speed. Temperature, I'm going to decrease first, and I get blue from the right to the left. So blue from right to left is always a decrease. And then we're going up with the temperature, so I get the red from the left to the right, indicating a increase. There we go. So those are kind of fun things. You can adjust the color by pressing the scroll wheel to the right, I believe 2 seconds. And then we can let go, and then we can scroll. And so you can see all the different colors here. And if you stop, and I think after 5 seconds, it will be going back out of exit that adjustment mode. So these are a few of the basic functions. There are more, but we gotta drive the vehicle to see those. We are on the interstate now, going 65. There's a car coming, and there we got yellow, which is our warning. And since we're going relatively slow, there is more cars coming back there. Now there's the next one coming. Let's see. And there is the yellow for the blind spot warning here on the driver's side. And another car coming. And we got continuously yellow for blind spot warning. And this is super easy to see right there. The newer vehicles, they have a red dot in the speaker there, but here in this older Tesla we don't. There's another one coming with a trailer, and we got blind spot warning right there. So the only other option would be here for you to see that, but obviously, especially if you want to go this way, you're looking this direction to the left and the screen is on your right, so that makes it even more difficult. So it does the same thing on the right hand side with the blind spot. You get a amber warning or orange warning, whatever you want to call it, for blind spot, as long as there is no turn signal set. Now usually when we set the turn signal, and I'm currently in FSD, so if I set the turn signal, it wants to actually turn. There's another vehicle coming. Let's see here, 2 of them coming, and there's our blind spot warning. And the blind spot warning is visible much sooner than the vehicles are visible on here. So this is a really great feature, having this blind spot warning here. So now we gotta test it with the turn signal, which means we probably have to speed up and possibly pass a car, so we can show this over there on the right. I pulled off the interstate and let some cars go by here so we can see how this all looks. So we're looking all pink. We're going left lane here, and we're still pink over there. And here we go. We got a car in a blind spot. It goes amber or orange. Now we'll keep going. I don't know if I can show that here. Maybe we can see that if the lighting is good enough. So we're going past another car. Goes into the blind spot. And there we go. And then here we got a bigger one. And let's see, we go into the blind spot. There we go. Let's set the turn signal. And you can see then it blinks red. And there we go, I turn the signal off and it goes back to amber. But so it warns you, there is the green when it's green to go, right? Amber when there is something next to you, and red when you're not supposed to go. And it does that on both sides. So it does that on the left and the right the same way. And this is a super cool safety feature. I mean, yeah, amber, you know something is there, you're warned. And then red, if you set your signal, it's like, oh yeah, red, don't go. So super cool. And now everybody's going a bit fast. I don't know, maybe we can catch up to that truck up there and do that again. Going left, having a left signal there, green. We had the blind spot warning there as we passed the car, green to go as I'm setting my right turn signal. This is fantastic, this is super cool. And now we're approaching this semi up here. So what we're doing, we're going left lane again. We got green to go left. So we're going left, and now we're slowing down as we are approaching the semi. And then I can show you again how it turns red when I set the right signal. And this time I just leave it on until I'm past this semi here. So there, I hope you can see that the lighting is unfortunately almost a bit bright. There we go, and here red. And then as we're going past the semi, there we go, now it's green, now we can go. So this is super cool. It doesn't just tell you there is something there, it also tells you once you're past, now you can actually go. So, and it, like I said, it does that on both sides. This is pretty amazing. And when we're going to the climate control, the same features we did already look at actually work while we're driving, obviously, so we can increase the temperature. And there we go, we get those running lights. Or we can decrease the temperature, oops. And then, oh man, there we go, we get the running light from the other side. So increasing makes it red, decreasing temperature makes it blue. So pretty cool. But yeah, this blind spot warning is pretty amazing. And by the way, even while you're fiddling with the temperature, like right here, you still get your blind spot warning and your turn signal and everything showing up. So it doesn't take the safety away when you're working or when you're doing something with your HVAC there. So it still works wonderful. I did switch from full self-driving to Autosteer, okay? So in full self-driving, there are no special functions here. I mean, it will do the turn signal like we've seen and all that stuff as well, because that's triggered by the turn signal. But it doesn't say that you're in full self-driving. On the other hand, if you're using the manual says AP for Autopilot. You can see there's no more Autopilot there. Autopilot is a name that has kind of gone away due to some people not understanding that Autopilot doesn't mean you can't just fall asleep. But so we switched it to Autosteer, and Autosteer basically functions on roads with lines. If your vehicle has auto steer or not, that depends a little bit on the configuration, the year, and so on and so forth. So, but I'm gonna get out here and then engage auto steer, and then I'll show you what happens here on the dash light. All right, we're now on the road here, and let's see. Let's engage auto steer, and what can you see? It's hard to see with this light right there. This is auto steer, and we got this on both sides right there. I hope you can see this. So this shows up on both sides. You get the triple colors there like that for auto steer. So oops, I better pay attention. It's blinking blue at me on here on the screen. But yeah, this is indication for auto steer. Hopefully you can see that. It's a bit bright. It will probably be easier to see. So if I step on the brake here, it disengages. It goes back to your regular light. Now I'm engaged again, and I hope you can see that. Setting the signal will still turn green, and then it goes back to the triple colors there. So I hope you could see that. It is a bit bright out to make this show good, but hopefully you've seen it. So yeah, the autopilot function is there as well. So yeah, this is a really cool feature. It's not just simple ambient lighting. It is ambient lighting. You can choose your color. It does all kinds of different stuff, as you have seen. And but it is a huge safety function, especially with these vehicles here, this 2018 Model 3. It does not have blind spot warning, and so now with this we do have an actual blind spot warning. Like I said, the only blind spot warning is on the screen, but it's kind of hard to see. And like I said, if you want to change into the left lane, you would have to look right into the screen, which that's not what you want. But with this now, you actually get a blind spot warning on the left side in the direction you're looking, which, ooh, there's a bump there, in the direction you're looking, which you're going, which that makes it safe. And the blind spot warning is done as amber if you have no turn signal set, and as soon as you set the turn signal, it will turn red if there's something in your blind spot. Also, if you set your turn signal and something comes in your blind spot, obviously it will turn red as soon as there is a vehicle in the blind spot. So super helpful in regards to safety. This is not just fun and nice and cool to look at. It is a safety feature, and I really like it. And you know, it helps with so many things. A door is not closed all the way, you actually get to see it too. It shows up red on there. There's so many cool things to this. It's not just this simple ambient light. And actually, if you just have a Tesla, you just get simple ambient light. So with this, you have all these features, and that is really, really cool. And this is an update basically to your, well, we want to call that an older Tesla. In our case, this is a 2018. I don't remember when the ambient lighting came in a Model 3 or Model Y. I think it was like 24 or something. I don't know. If you know, put it down below in the comments when we got ambient lighting in these. But like I said, this is more than ambient lighting. This is a definite safety feature as well. And if you want one of those, you can get yourself one of those at Tesery or Tesery, however you'd like to pronounce that. There is a link down below in the description that you can use to get there and get yourself one of those lights. They also have other products, a lot of cool Tesla products there as well to update and upgrade your Tesla. So yeah, go check that out. Like I said, link is down below in the description. We also have a whole bunch of other videos with accessory installs, repairs, road trips, all kinds of stuff. Also winter, cold driving, cold, minus 20 degrees and stuff. 20 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. So yeah, go check out our channel if you haven't been following us yet. There's a lot of cool stuff, different EVs. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there. So make sure you are subscribed to our channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And make sure to give us a thumbs up for every video of ours that you watch. Like I said, we got a whole bunch of them. Some may be 2-3 years old, but they're totally 100% still relevant today. So yeah, go check them out. And like I said, subscribe and like. Well, in any event, thank you for watching. Goodbye.